You ever have one of those, those moments where like two ideas that seem totally unrelated just like click together in your head
Yeah.
and then boom, it's like this huge new
Oh,
understanding
yeah.
just kind of explodes into view.
Totally.
That's kind of what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
The power of like connecting ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
And the engine behind that
Yeah.
is this thing called relational thinking, which
Exactly.
is not just some, like nice to have skill.
Right?
It's seriously like the bedrock,
It is.
especially for STEM fields.
Oh, absolutely fundamental.
But honestly, in pretty much any area where,
Yeah.
you, the learner, are trying to wrap your head around the world.
Absolutely. It's that core ability to see and understand how all these different pieces of information relate to each other. And for this deep dive, we're going way beyond just, giving you a definition. We really want to get into like
Yeah.
the nitty-gritty of how it works
Yeah.
in practice,
Yeah.
where it can sometimes lead you astray. And most importantly, like how you can actually level up your relational thinking game.
Right. And to kind of guide us on this journey,
Yeah.
we're turning to a seriously insightful commentary
Okay.
from the Educational Psychology Review by Christian D. Shun.
Okay.
And what's so great about his perspective is that it's not just some ivory tower theory.
No.
It comes from years of observing
Right.
real-world scientists and engineers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, actually doing their thing.
So we're talking about relational thinking as it plays out, in the trenches.
Exactly.
Which makes it so incredibly relevant to you, the learner.
Exactly.
Our mission here is to give you
Yeah.
a much more sophisticated understanding of relational thinking.
Okay.
Highlight some of the things that tend to get missed in traditional education approaches.
Yeah.
We want to go beyond just knowing what it is and really explore like the deeper mechanics at play in your own learning.
So, okay, let's kind of start unpacking this a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
When we talk about relational thinking in education,
Right.
a lot of the focus has been on what Shun calls convergent search.
Yeah.
What does that actually look like in like a learning setting for you?
So think of convergent search as your ability to correctly understand the relationships that are like right there in front of you.
Okay.
So say you're reading a report
Right.
that clearly lays out how two factors are connected.
Okay.
The focus here is on whether you get that connection as it's presented.
Right. So it's about reaching that like expected understanding,
Right.
grasping those kind of pre-established links.
Yeah.
But Shun points out there's this whole other really crucial side to this, and it's called divergent search.
Yeah.
What's the big difference there?
So divergent search is about coming up with new ideas.
Right.
It's about exploring possibilities that aren't immediately obvious.
Right.
It's about taking that information you've absorbed
Right.
and using your relational thinking skills to create something new, new solutions to problems,
Right.
new ways of approaching a task,
Yeah.
even new interpretations of what you've learned.
Right.
And Shun's main point is that while we often study how relational thinking helps us understand existing information, we haven't really dug deep enough into how it fuels this creative, generative side of learning.
Which totally resonates. Like, have you ever found yourself stuck?
Oh, yeah.
When you're trying to brainstorm,
Absolutely.
New ideas.
Yeah.
And you feel like you've got a pretty solid grasp on the basics of a topic. It's like you have all these individual puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
But you can't quite figure out how to put them together
Right.
into something new.
Exactly. That's exactly the kind of situation where understanding how relational thinking drives divergent search becomes so important for you, whether you're reading on your own and you're trying to connect that material to your own experiences, or you're tackling some problem-based learning scenario where you need to come up with like really innovative solutions, or even just trying to develop like more personalized learning strategies for yourself. Right. Divergent search is key.
Totally.
And Shun argues that we need more research
to
really understand how best to support relational thinking in these kinds of activities.
It's funny because we always hear about
Right.
the benefits of like linking new information to what you already know.
Yeah.
Right? Like it seems like common sense.
It does.
But Shin throws in this really interesting wrinkle.
Yeah.
And suggests that, maybe this isn't always the case.
Right.
That relational reasoning can actually be kind of a double-edged sword.
It can.
For you, the learner.
It's a really important nuance to grasp.
Yeah.
So while making connections is often good,
Right.
we have to remember that not all connections are created equal.
Yeah.
Right? They're not all equally valid or helpful.
Okay.
Take analogies, for example.
Yeah.
Right? Which are like a fundamental tool. Okay. In relational thinking,
Right.
they can be super effective for understanding complex ideas.
Yeah.
By relating them to something you already know.
Right.
Something you're familiar with.
We've all encountered those analogies in learning.
Right.
Like comparing the structure of an atom to like a miniature solar system.
Exactly.
It makes this abstract concept more visual.
Yeah.
More understandable.
Right.
But that atom-ass solar system analogy, while it's helpful for that initial grasp, it can also lead to some misconceptions.
It can.
Right? Like, it might incorrectly imply that electrons orbit in these fixed paths, like planets do.
Yeah.
And that's not entirely accurate.
It's not the whole picture.
So the analogy kind of breaks down after a certain point.
Right.
And you could end up with a flawed understanding.
You could.
If you take it too literally.
Absolutely. And Shun really emphasizes that. All models, analogies included, they're inherently simplified representations of reality.
Okay.
They highlight certain similarities, but they always have limitations and the potential to introduce inaccuracies into your understanding.
So it's not just about like, having enough knowledge of the thing that you're comparing the new information to.
Exactly.
What's often called the source domain.
Yeah. It's also about carefully weighing that trade-off for you.
Okay.
How much genuinely useful new information does that analogy give you?
Okay.
Versus how much potentially misleading information might it also bring in to your thinking?
Okay.
And crucially, how well can you as the learner identify and correct those inaccuracies as you learn more and your critical thinking skills develop?
So it's a great reminder to not just blindly accept those connections.
Well, we got to be critical.
At face value.
Exactly.
And it seems like this issue goes even beyond just analogies.
Right.
Shun points to research in engineering design.
Okay.
Where relying too heavily on past examples can actually stifle innovative thinking.
It can.
Even among seasoned professionals.
Right. What's fascinating here is that activating certain existing ideas in your mind can kind of inadvertently narrow the range of new ideas that you consider.
Okay.
It might stop you from exploring like more out-of-the-box solutions to a problem.
Yeah.
And the type of analogy that comes to mind also matters.
Okay.
Near analogies, which are things very similar to the current problem.
Okay.
Versus far analogies, which are seemingly quite different, can have really different impacts on your creative process.
Okay.
Even just the way these analogies are labeled or presented can influence how you use and understand them.
So the takeaway here isn't just like make connections.
No.
It's more like make connections thoughtfully.
Right.
And critically
discerning.
Recognizing that not all of those initial connections are going to be helpful in the long run.
Exactly. It's about developing what you might call like a metacognitive awareness of your own relational thinking processes.
Right.
Being conscious of how you're making connections and then checking if they actually hold up.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit here.
Okay.
We've mostly been talking about relational thinking. As this thing that happens inside an individual's mind.
Right.
But Shun argues that mental work, and by extension, relational thinking, is rarely a solo act.
No.
Especially in collaborative fields like science and engineering.
Right. You're often working in teams.
Right, where you might be working in teams.
That's right. His research observing practicing scientists and engineers consistently shows that they operate in teams and that their reasoning process is often distributed across those team members.
Interesting.
This aligns with the idea of distributed cognition, which is essentially the idea that thinking isn't confined to your own head, but it's spread out across the people you're collaborating with and the tools you're using together.
So it's not just one person having all the insights.
Right.
It's the interaction.
Yeah.
And the shared effort.
Exactly.
That really pushes the relational thinking forward.
Within the group.
Right.
Exactly. And within a team setting, different people might interpret new information in relation to their own knowledge in surprisingly different ways.
Okay.
Shun gives a great example where a new idea might be seen as like a helpful analogy
Okay.
by one person on the team
Right.
as an antimony,
Okay.
basically a contradiction
That's right.
by someone else,
Right.
and as an anomaly,
Okay.
something unexpected that doesn't quite fit
Yeah.
by a third person all in the same discussion.
So that sounds like it could make for some really interesting
Oh, yeah.
and potentially confusing team meetings.
It definitely can.
Right.
But on the one hand,
Yeah.
these diverse interpretations can be super valuable for you as part of that team.
Right.
Because they bring in a wider range of perspectives and potential ideas.
Yeah.
So through open communication and collaboration, the team can explore these different viewpoints and potentially reach like a more complete and robust understanding.
Right. But there's also a potential pitfall there.
There is.
If those differing interpretations don't actually get brought out into the open and discussed.
You can get what's called false agreement, where everyone's nodding along, thinking they're all on the same page.
Right.
But in reality, they have very different interpretations.
Yeah.
And this can lead to misunderstandings getting reinforced.
Right.
Instead of being identified and cleared up.
And Shun takes this idea of distributed cognition even further.
He does.
Beyond just those immediate interactions within a team.
Yeah.
He highlights the influence of these much broader contexts on how you as an individual relate to and understand new information.
Yes. He talks about the impact of your physical environment, your neighborhood, your city, as well as your social context, your family background, your socioeconomic status, even your involvement in extracurriculars.
Wow.
And, of course, the influence of recent historical events within those contexts.
Right.
All of these things shape the common ideas and behaviors that you encounter in your daily life and the values that you tend to prioritize, which then influence how you process and integrate new information.
He gives a really powerful example. Using a U.S. Supreme Court decision that's being discussed in a social studies class. And depending on a student's pre-existing beliefs and feelings about that decision, they might be more or less open to seeing a particular line of reasoning from the decision as like a useful analogy for understanding a different legal concept.
So what's really insightful here is how your broader lived experiences really color the way you connect with and make sense of new information. It's a crucial reminder that learning isn't just this abstract cognitive process happening in a vacuum.
It really makes you think about how different students in the same classroom, even when they're presented with the exact same material, might be relating it to totally different personal histories and perspectives.
And that underscores the importance for educators and for you as a learner to be mindful of these diverse backgrounds when engaging with new ideas.
Now, another area that Shun feels hasn't gotten enough attention in research on relational thinking is what he calls the hot side of reasoning. The roles that motivation and emotion play and how you learn and make connections.
Absolutely.
We tend to think of learning as this purely cognitive thing. But our feelings and our drives obviously have a big impact.
They really do. And Shun points out that your motivational goals as a learner, whether you're focused on truly mastering the material or just aiming to do well on a test, can really influence how you engage with learning materials and how you interact with strategies designed to boost relational reasoning.
So, for example, someone who's genuinely focused on mastery might be more inclined to really dig into like the subtle nuances of an analogy and might actually be more intrigued by something that doesn't quite fit.
Exactly.
Research suggests that learners with mastery goals tend to benefit more from discovery-based approaches where they're actively exploring and making their own connections, while learners driven by performance goals might prefer more direct, explicit instruction. And the interaction between these goals and the effectiveness of relational reasoning strategies is something that needs more research.
So that's a really interesting avenue for future research.
Yeah.
And what about the emotions themselves?
Right.
Can analogies or like the process of relational thinking actually evoke emotional responses?
Shin argues that They definitely can.
Okay.
He points to Thagard's work,
Oh, okay.
which suggests that analogies can have what's called
Yeah.
an emotional valence.
Okay.
Meaning we might already have
Right.
positive or negative associations.
Right. With parts of the analogy.
Right.
And those feelings can then influence how we interpret the analogy and whether we agree with the conclusions being drawn.
That makes sense.
Right.
If an analogy connects a new idea to something you already have strong feelings about.
Exactly.
Those feelings are going to probably transfer over to that new idea.
Absolutely. And Shun's own research has shown that using analogies in teams can both stem from and lead to emotional states.
Interesting.
Like conflict or feelings of uncertainty as the team wrestles with these complex ideas. So a team might use an analogy to navigate a disagreement or to make sense of a situation where the way forward is unclear.
And we talked about anomalies before.
Right.
Those bits of information that don't quite fit with our existing understanding, Shun really stresses that they can be a big source of frustration.
Absolutely.
Or even debate.
Yeah.
But also a powerful motivator for deeper learning.
Anomalies can challenge your current understanding.
Right.
And push you to investigate further. To figure out why something doesn't add up.
Right. But your response to anomalies isn't always the same.
It's not.
Right? Some learners are naturally curious and driven to figure out why something doesn't fit, while others might get frustrated or even just dismiss that conflicting information.
And Shun also points out that not everyone's comfortable with disagreeing publicly, which can limit how much they learn from activities that involve group discussion and debate around those conflicting ideas.
So your emotional state and your learning goals. They're not just background noise.
They're not.
They're really actively shaping how you process information and learn.
It's an essential piece of the puzzle that needs more attention in how we design learning experiences.
Finally, Shun kind of challenges that traditional emphasis.
He does.
On abstract symbols. In research on relational reasoning, he argues that our mental lives are inherently multimodal.
They are.
And we need to pay attention to the different ways that information is presented and how we experience it.
This is a really key point.
Right.
The prevailing view has often been that relational reasoning mainly operates on abstract symbols, as if the format doesn't matter that much. But Shun draws on other theoretical frameworks, like connectionist theories, Gibsonian theories, embodied cognition, which all emphasize the role of your sensory experiences and physical interactions with the world in shaping your thoughts.
So it's not just about the abstract information itself. It's about whether you see it, hear it, touch it, or even physically interact with it.
Exactly. He asks it a really thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Do you think about space and time the same way when it's described verbally? When it's shown in a cartoon? Or when you actually experience it by measuring distances with a ruler and timing the travel? The way information is presented probably triggers different kinds of relational processing.
I can definitely see that. Trying to understand a complex spatial relationship just from words feels very different.
It does.
Than seeing it visually or like physically manipulating objects to get it.
And Shun highlights that in fields like science and engineering. Experts spend tons of time working with complex visual spatial representations. Our brains have evolved specialized systems for handling this kind of information. For example, the system for recognizing 2D objects versus the one that coordinates 3D movements. These different neural systems have different strengths and weaknesses.
And novice learners might be more reliant
They might.
on those specific visual details they're first presented with.
Like someone new to a 3D topographical map might mainly process it using their 3D spatial reasoning system, which has its own pros and cons.
Experts, on the other hand, can re-represent that information internally in a format that works better for the specific problem they're tackling.
It sounds like educators and creators of learning materials might not always be fully aware of how these subtle differences in presentation, like choosing between a simple diagram and a detailed 3D rendering, can really impact a student's understanding.
Right, that's Shun's argument.
That is...
And he also brings up this interesting point about how your physical environment can actually limit creative thinking.
Sometimes.
For example, research shows that even for experienced engineers, having physical prototypes around during brainstorming sessions can actually reduce the use of more conceptually distant analogies, whereas using sketches doesn't have that same limiting effect.
Right. Kind of counterintuitive. You'd think having a physical model there would spark more ideas, but it highlights that complex relationship between your surroundings and your thought processes. Physical prototypes are super valuable. Especially later on. For testing things out, right?
But maybe they should be put aside at the very beginning. When you're generating ideas.
To encourage more divergent thinking.
So the way information is presented. It's not just a minor detail.
It's not.
It can fundamentally affect your understanding and your ability to make those insightful connections.
Absolutely. Paying attention to the different modalities. Verbal, visual, physical. And how they interact with your relational thinking is crucial for effective learning.
So to kind of bring it all together, we've taken this really deep dive.
We have.
Into some truly important and often overlooked aspects of relational thinking and learning.
We have.
Thanks to Shun's commentary. We've explored why it's so crucial to go beyond just understanding information and really consider how relational reasoning fuels your ability to generate new ideas.
And a divergent search.
That divergent search. We've also emphasized that just making connections isn't always good.
Not all connections are helpful.
And that analogies, while being super powerful tools, can also sometimes mislead us.
You got to be critical.
So developing those critical evaluation skills is key.
It is.
We've looked at how relational thinking isn't just something that happens in your head.
No.
It's often a distributed process, especially in collaborative settings.
Absolutely.
And is influenced by your social, physical, and historical context.
All of those things matter.
And we can't forget the hot side of reasoning.
The feelings.
The roles of motivation and emotion.
They play a big role.
In how you engage with new information.
Absolutely.
And learn through making connections.
It's all connected.
And finally, we touched on the importance of the multimodal nature of your mind. And how the way information is presented can seriously affect your relational processing. And your overall understanding.
Understanding these nuances can really help you, the learner, become a more effective and insightful thinker. And learner in all areas of your life.
It's about being more aware of your own thinking processes and the things that can influence them.
Absolutely.
So here's a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
Think back to the last time you were really trying to learn something new. Were you mainly focused on just understanding the information as it was presented? Or did you actively try to generate new possibilities and connections based on that information? How might shifting your approach